Welcome
Hi.
to Hi. Welcome to Shell's Pearls of Wisdom. I am here with the beautiful Kat today, aka
Holly Rose.
Holly Rose. I love it. So, Kat, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty good.
Yeah, how are you doing
Yep.
with the whole quarantine?
I'm pretty good at self-isolation already, so I'm okay right now.
Are you an
Um,
introvert? Is that why? Do you usually keep
oh
to
no,
yourself?
I'm an ambivert. So an ambivert is both extroverted and introverted. I love to be like the life of the party. When I'm with my friends, I'm like crazy and boisterous, but when I'm with other people that I don't really know, I tend to withdraw and become the observer. And in those times where I have like the real like crazy fun party outgoing side of me, then I need to take a few days back, crawl back into myself and like
Oh.
chill and mellow out again before I can get another big burst of energy.
So, I've never heard that terminology. What is it called
Ambivert.
again? Ambivert.
Ambivert. Yep.
Cool. Like I said, I've never heard that terminology. I think I'm a little bit of that now that you've told me the definition.
Right? I
um,
think a lot of people are, we like to be exuberant and
yeah,
express our energy and love and passion, but then like I need that downtime to recharge my own personal batteries. I can't just go 100% of the time. Like I need that solitude and
right. I think as I get older, I'm becoming more like that. Like when I was younger, I think I could do the
Mhm.
go, 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 go. But now that I'm getting older, it's like, okay, I can go, but I need a break. And then I can go
Absolutely.
again. Well, so you know the premise of my show. Oh, and by the way, welcome everybody who's joining us. If you haven't already, please click like and subscribe at the bottom. Click, 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 click. Um, basically, off camera, we were just talking about like what Shell's Pearls of Wisdom means, and basically, we take the opportunity to share with someone who may be struggling or going through some obstacles in their own lives that are preventing them to reach their full potential because of whether it's mental, whether it's physical, emotional. There's a lot of things that hinder our spirit and don't allow us to stay to be happy because of these things that are stopping us. So I asked Kat to join us today so that she can kind of like talk a little bit about her life experiences and things that she's might have overcome to allow her to now be the beautiful soul that you see today. So I'm just gonna let you kind of take the floor and just let us know like a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, I am a 40-year-old woman living in the Midwest. I've lived in Illinois, the same county, my entire life. I'm married, no children, 4 fur babies,
Oh.
2 cats, 2 dogs, who I'm absolutely in love with, and by the way, are the best quarantine buddies ever because they all love to snuggle. I was so I have 2 art degrees in my background. I do have a fine art associate's degree and a bachelor's of visual communication, which is
Mhm.
fancy for graphic design. So I didn't quite go into my field, I guess you could say, right away. I kind of did more transitioning things, and then I somehow ended up in pharma. So I was working for a pharmaceutical company for a couple years, moved on to another pharmaceutical company where I was for about 7 years, and then I was a victim of layoffs. So um, thankfully, it was one of the best things that could have ever happened to me because working in pharma is very different, I think, because people have a very negative outlook on pharma companies. And the one that I worked for was small, and we did a lot of more human helping small population drugs, not like we weren't like one of the big guys.
Right.
And so I got a very different perspective on it because I worked on oncology drugs myself.
Oh,
So I
okay.
got to learn a lot about it, like literally from the beginning stages of how the drug was formed, how it works, how it then works in humans, and then my main purpose was to do the labeling for all of that. So that's what I did for several years, and it was amazing, but it was also very stressful. And I mean, I don't have a scientific degree. I don't have what I call science brain. Like, I'm a very artistic, creative person. So it was really like, it was awesome for the benefits and the salary, but it was soul crushing in so many other ways
Yeah, I
that
was
I'm
gonna
really
say that
glad
doesn't
that
sound like
it
very.
happened.
It doesn't sound like it allows for the person who you are truly to shine through, because it wasn't like it was stifling almost, not so.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I liked the routine of it because I do find comfort in routine and rules and regulations, but I also like to bend them in my own way. So while I was at that job is when I fully embraced the vintage retro pinup culture. I had made a decision. We got a yearly bonus in June, and I said, 1 year, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to buy a bunch of clothes, and I'm just going to make the transition. Because if I don't do it, if I don't just like draw a line in the sand, it's not going to
Right.
happen. And I did. I started wearing things more boldly. Like the first time, I think I have a picture, and I'll have to send it to you, of the first outfit I wore, my pinup outfit at work. And it was a cotton candy pink cardigan with pinup girl clothing skirt, and it was black, and it's got pink carousel horses on it. And I
Ooh.
had a big scarf in my hair, and I probably did like the barrel roll bangs at the time. And it was the day that I had a Toastmasters meeting. And I believe I had a speech that day, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to do it. Just going to rip the Band-Aid off and do it. Because I had
Yeah.
been doing it on the weekends and stuff so often that I wanted to really bring that side of me out. And it was a really positive experience.
That.
I mean, of course, I get a lot of like weird side eye from like the salespeople that come in.
Yeah.
But I was also one of the leaders of the Women's Employee Resource Group for 2 years. And I think that me being me was a large part of that.
Because it's good that you actually said it like that, because my I for my work I wear scrubs, so I don't get to really do too many of my own, you know, feeling
Mhm.
of how I want to express myself, especially with the pinup look, because there's just not that many. Unless I truly go retro with like the old school nurses outfit, I really don't have too much I can do. But that was
Mhm.
my biggest thing when I started to embrace it as well, is the looks. Are people going to think I'm just like playing dress up, or they're going to really like understand that this is what I'm embracing? Or so it's nice the fact that you kind of put it out there for the baby pinups like myself, that if this is something that you love, you got to just rip the Band-Aid off. You kind of got to have to just embrace it and love it, because the true pinups that I've started to follow and really take note to are the ones that really live this lifestyle like every day. It's not even just something that they do for just the competitions or for the photo shoots. It's their life. So I
Right.
commend you on that, because you are going to get the side eyes, you are going to get the look. So you do have to be kind of strong and like
Mhm.
able to take that,
Oh,
because
absolutely.
yeah, sometimes it's a little
Mhm.
hard when you have people staring at you and you're like, what are you looking at? Like, you know.
Well, it's funny you say that because like it's so normal for me. Like when I go out, I rarely wear pants. I mean, except in the winter. Like when it's cold out, of course I'm wearing pants because I'm cold. But otherwise, I'm always like in a skirt or dress or whatever. I went to TJ Maxx with my mom, I think like in January, and I was just wearing like a black and purple skirt, and I had a purple cardigan on, and I'm like super into berets right now, so I had a black beret on, and people kept complimenting me, and I didn't understand it. I'm like, what is going on? Like, what is so weird? But to me, it's my everyday.
Yeah, for you
People
it's
don't
every day.
wear skirts just to wear a skirt often,
Yeah.
and it's
And
weird
and
because I
I
just think
like it.
it's
It's going
positive.
back to the simple times when women were really women and really girly. And and yes, we know how to like what uh bring home the bacon and cook it too now. Like that
Yeah,
is basically what
absolutely.
so it's like, but I want to embrace some of that softness, and that's what
Hmm.
I'm enjoying about it now, is like finding my feminine side. Like of course I'm a girl, but that like truly, like I'm baking cookies, but I'm wearing like my heels. something about that is really
Yep.
like sexy. Like,
Mhm.
it's just something different, and I really love that. So
Yeah, because I was such a tomboy growing up that when I like kind of like I call it making the transition, but like when I did that, like when I started dressing more femininely, I felt more powerful, I guess, just because like I have a degree, I was the breadwinner, and I could still make a 4-course meal. We
exactly,
can do it all. And I
exactly.
think that's really what brought it together for me, um, was
Let me tell
completing
you,
that
when the
circle.
pantsuit came into play, when the first woman's pantsuit really came into play, they put us in pantsuits because they wanted us to be looked at like as equal to a man.
Hmm.
Which I love a good pantsuit. Don't get me wrong. I think I
Oh,
look
yeah, for
really
sure.
right. I think I look sexy as hell in a pantsuit. But the fact that now we are trying to transition our women back into pant skirts and more feminine looks, think about how much we are intimidating to a man.
Hmm.
Because not only are we rocking out and being just as powerful as them, but we look damn good doing it. And that is something that makes a man go nuts because they're like, bitch, she's smart, she's beautiful. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like I'm liking the fact that we're starting to make that transition now where we're not just trying to be so, I'm a man, I got to slick my hair back in a bun, wear a suit with shoulder pads up to here, and, I got to be all business. No,
Hmm.
I want to wear my hair down. I want to wear a sexy outfit that hugs my curves because that's what I have. And I will still run this meeting. I will still make your company money because that is what I can do and be a
Yeah.
woman. And that is just hot. I think it's empowering and it's
Hmm.
great. And
And I will tell you, so I would run meetings, right? Because like I was literally in charge of writing the label. So I would run meetings with doctors and scientists, statisticians, and all kinds of things. And I mean, the majority of them were white men. And when I would come in, they would, if they didn't know me, of course, they'd like be like, who is this? Because, I come in looking like a freaking 50s housewife, and I'm in there running the meeting, and I'm assigning things, I'm getting things done. And I think I helped really transform some opinions of people that you cannot judge a book by its cover.
right, exactly. So with
Like,
that
I may
being
look cute, but I'm not a ditz. Like, I still know what I'm talking about.
right, you can be beautiful and be smart at the same time. A lot of people don't realize that is very easy to accomplish.
Yeah.
But with you saying about like your transitioning, I love that word. What in your past have you ever like had to go through in the sense to get you to the being comfortable with yourself to say kind of like, screw it, I'm gonna do me.
So my entire life, I would say I've always been a loner. I've always been the person that I have a lot of friends, but I don't necessarily feel like I'm part of them. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, great, let's go bowling, or we're going to have a volleyball game or whatever. But then, like, when it comes to like one on one stuff or things that I'm excited about, there wasn't a lot of reciprocation.
Hmm.
And so when I got to the point of saying, I'm going to love what I want to love, that was the change that I needed. So I think part of it was just like wanting acceptance,
Mm-hmm.
but part of it was realizing who I am. It didn't happen until like my mid to late 30s that I could just shed that. A
Let
lot
me
of it
tell
is
you.
expectation too. Like, my mom wanted me to be X or expected me to like get this kind of job or whatever. And you get to a point where you just say, you know what? I don't care what you think. I want to make me happy.
Oh gosh, yeah,
But
yeah,
it's really hard to get there.
yeah.
And it took me a really long time. But this culture, scene, whatever, is what really helped me embrace me.
Yeah.
So I think it was really just not being afraid to publicly like what I like.
Exactly. And saying screw it for people that didn't like what you liked, you just kept it moving.
Yeah. I mean, you see people like, there's the whole like Comic-Con scene, which I absolutely love. I love cosplay, all that kind of stuff, but there was the whole like brony thing that came out, and people like making fun of middle-aged men that love My Little Ponies. Well, who cares? It's
Right.
something that they're passionate about. Like, what does it matter if they love Hot Wheels or My Little Ponies? Like, to me, your passion is your passion, and nobody has the right to dictate what you love.
Amen. So, Kat, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this, because this is something that a lot of women, and especially our young women, are going to go through if they're not already experiencing. So, for myself, I've also had that need to keep. I call it keeping my inner soul quiet, because I know what I love, I know what I think, but I also know what society wants me to love and wants society to think. And it doesn't always, what I was saying is, for myself and for a lot of young women, we all kind of know what society wants and what society thinks. And we kind of like want to mute our inner soul to fit in what society wants us to be like.
Mm-hmm.
So for myself, listening to your story, it kind of wants me to dig a little deeper in the sense of, when you were hanging out with your friends and you were with your other girlfriends, what was it about what you wanted to do did they not find appealing? What were some of those activities or some of those hobbies that you were interested
Um, it's interesting because I fell into a group of women who are all very nice. They're really sweet people,
in? Mm-hmm.
but to me, they're very average white girl, I guess. And I feel like rude saying that, but the majority of them were.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never been that average person. Like, I don't like The Bachelor. I don't watch TMZ. Like, that kind of stuff doesn't appeal to me.
Mm-hmm.
I have an artistic background, so they're like, oh yeah, let's go like do this paint party. I'm like, okay, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll do the paint party because I can drink wine, but I'm not going to pay $60 to hammer a piece of wood with a stencil that I could do at my house, in my garage. So like, I think it was kind of stuff like that. And I didn't really take a lot of time for me. Everything I was doing was either work or friend outings. And it happened after I got married.
Okay.
We bought a house. Obviously, when you get your own home, you're spending a lot more time there because dumped all your money into it.
Right.
And that's, I think, when the transition started happening for me. We got married,
How long have
bought
you
a
been married, by the way?
um well, I've been married since 2011, but I've been with my husband since 1997.
Oh, wow. Are you a high school sweetheart?
We started dating my senior year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so we dated on and off through our 20s, and then we got married in 2011.
And then you said that you had 4 fur babies. Why haven't you embarked in having children?
Not for us.
Not for you. I love
Yep.
it.
I got plenty of nieces and nephews. Actually, my best friend is about to give birth on Friday.
A quarantine baby!
I know. Yeah, for a second. So yeah, it was just, it's good. I mean, I love my life how it is, but I think that's when the transition started happening. Um, I used to do burlesque fitness. I started off taking the class, and then the teacher trained me to be a teacher. So I did that for about 6 months right before I got married. I really enjoyed it, but after I got married, I just like kind of didn't have time for it anymore. And then after we bought the house, I started again looking for more things to do. And I reconnected with an old friend who I've been friends with since junior high.
Mhm.
And she's really the one that introduced me to pinup. She had done a couple photo shoots herself, and I was like super interested because I've always loved the style, the time period, the era. My mom and I would watch musicals and black and white TV shows.
Beautiful.
And I
Yeah.
mean, that was like, that's what I grew up on. I grew up on Magic 104.3 in Chicago, you know, where you listen to all the 50s and 60s. Like that was how I grew up. So it was something I'd always loved. And so Bathtub Ginny, my friend, she started going to these events, and there was one close by. She's like, hey, come meet up with me. So I go out there, and it was at a like a dress studio,
Mhm.
wedding shop slash photo studio. And that's where I met a photographer. Her name is Harper. She's super awesome. And that's also where I met Miss Sarabella. And Sarah runs Peekaboo Pinups.
Oh, okay. I've heard of them.
Yep. So I now work with her, and we do the shows for John Wells. So Vintage Torque Fest, Iron Invasion, and Retro Rewind.
Awesome.
But that was how I met her. I met her at this little event, and they're like, hey, come back, do like a little intro to burlesque thing. So we did. We had that. We had Bomber Betty Cosmetics come out to make your own lip gloss, and we had like a little party. And then I signed up to do a calendar photo shoot for them. It was, I can't remember who the benefit was, but we shot at the Volo Auto Museum, which is literally 5 minutes from my house. And that was the beginning. It was after that I was so excited because, you know, I'm wearing what I call the standard when you start pinup. It was a blue, like, collared shirt dress with white
Mhm.
polka dots on it. I did a photo shoot in front of I think it was an army jeep. We did a couple. We did like an army jeep, a tank, and a helicopter. And then it was in a calendar. And I just had so much fun. And I just didn't want to stop. And
Yeah.
so I just started doing photo shoots, checking out car shows. I did my first pinup contest that year, and I think that's really what started bringing me out of my shell again, because I'd kind of withdrawn, and then I was coming back out again.
So how old were you about when this happened?
Let's see, it was 2012, so I was 33.
33. Now, have you ever, with you being like you said, you're kind of going through the transitioning from like this finding who you want to be and this is how you want to live your life. Did you ever have any insecurities walking into that with like just maybe the way you looked, your body style, or the fact that other
Absolutely.
women around you are just like, I was so intimidated by how beautiful everybody was that, I mean, in my mind, I'm like, I cannot even stand like next to these women because they look so fabulous and glorious.
So I will say, when I started, it wasn't like it is now.
Okay.
It is much more glamorous and put together now. When I first started, there weren't a lot of classes. There wasn't a lot of just information out there. You know, there weren't a lot of companies doing specific clothing. So as a plus size girl, it was difficult for me at first to find clothes. I didn't really know what to wear, and I couldn't go anywhere to try anything on. So it was like, you know, a big risk to buy like a $98 skirt, and it might not even fit me. Like, I didn't
Right.
understand.
Right.
So, you know, I started off with baby steps. Because I was so new, I, you know, friended some people through the scene, you know, like Sarah. And um, I think going to the shows really helped me open up to the scene, but I was still very withdrawn. Again, I was in observer mode. I helped and volunteered as much as I could because that's me. I've always been a helper. And just kind of did little more, little more, little more, little more every time.
Is that what
Um,
helped you get the confidence to be out there more? To kind of like
yeah,
watch in the background and then kind of like ease your way into it?
yeah. So I did a pinup contest when we did our calendar release, which was pretty cool. I didn't place. Was my first one, not a shocker. Did my second one, placed second. I was like, holy crap, like really? That's
Good
awesome. Woo!
job! High five! Woohoo!
That was super cool. Miss Hot Rod Harvest. No, I think it was Miss Rock and Roll of Scrap Drive. Holy cow, that was pulling it back. Yes, Miss Rock and Roll of the Scrap Drive in June of whatever year that was. And then I thought, this is really fun. I want to do more.
It's
So
addicting. It's very addicting.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. Well, then I entered Iron Invasion, and Iron
Okay.
Invasion has a talent portion. And I bombed so horribly.
What was your talent?
Well, I kept trying to figure out something, and I ended up going with family-friendly burlesque, which wouldn't have been bad if I had understood how the stage was shaped, because at that time I was expecting a stage, but it was a T, so you had to, and that, like, it totally screwed me up mentally, because I got out there and was like, and then just
Yeah,
like
it wasn't what you
twirling
expected.
yeah, it was bad. It was horrible. But I think that's really what kicked my own butt
Yeah,
into wanting to do better,
right.
because I was in Toastmasters at the time. And I don't know if you know what Toastmasters is. I'll give a little
Oh,
plug.
yeah, what is that?
I'm a little parched.
Yeah, drink some coffee. I will take
All
a
right,
sip of my
so,
wine.
perfect. All right, so Toastmasters is an international speaking club where you can learn to hone your skills. They teach
Okay.
not only public speaking, but also leadership, time management, all kinds of really amazing things. So I was going through the process, and I had a super awesome mentor at the time, and I started doing speeches on pinup and what it was like. I think I did one specifically on my bomb at TorqueFest, or at Retro Rewind. And talking it out actually helped me understand it a little bit better. But then I also started honing those public speaking skills. So not only was I doing it, like I did it through corporate, but they have clubs all over. I mean, you probably have a club in your town and don't even know it.
Right.
I highly recommend it, mostly for the thing called table topics.
So now, just for the baby pinups out there, just give a nice little shout out to, like, what was that organization called that helped you?
Toastmasters International.
And they can just basically probably just Google it and find it.
Absolutely.
So out
Yep.
there for you baby pinups, this is a great resource that you can utilize. If you are still struggling with how she said, like the speech or the being comfortable on a stage and things of that nature, it seems like this organization will help you get through some of that fear and give you the building tools to actually be more successful.
Yep. Yep. They have, so one of the features of a meeting, which is every meeting, is a thing called table topics. It is basically a 1 to 2 minute elevator speech that you can give about anything. Most often you are on the spot. So you'll pull a suggestion out of a hat and say, like, okay, you're a news reporter interviewing somebody about a bear attack, go. And you have to like pretend to like do that.
It's
So
almost like improv.
yes, it's a little bit improv. It's
Yeah.
thinking on your feet. But for me, it prepared me the most for speaking on stage.
Okay. All right.
Especially
So
when you get a question, how do you formulate it? You know a little bit, but it just, the repetition of doing it so many times,
yeah.
things just like words fall out of my mouth now, and I don't even know how it happens. Like I would walk off stage and I'm like, did it sound okay? Because I don't even remember what I just said.
I had a little bit of that moment when I told all of Detroit at Autorama this year that basically I was a lesbian.
Oh,
It was awesome. Like I was walking back to the line, and I was like, I think I just told everybody I'm a lesbian. Okay. Alrighty. Okay.
nothing wrong with that, girl.
I guess I did all right because I came in second. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, right.
They like that. All right. So not to like get off the subject of this, but I do want to kind of ask you because you do have a very unique style and just your face is beautiful. But it is hard for me to pick out what is your nationality.
So I am half Filipino.
Okay.
Like 23andMe says, like 49.5%. And then the rest I like to call European mutt. Um,
Okay.
English, Irish, Scottish, mostly the Western European conglomerate.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, my mom is from the Philippines, came here in the early 70s with the intention of just going to college, met my dad, fell in love, got married.
Yeah.
And yeah, that,
How was that having basically to be uh, like a mix like you said a mutt to have
oh
a
yeah,
parent from another country and then have a parent that's from here, like did you have any diversities just growing up with that?
tons, because, when you're in it, you don't see it,
Uh-huh.
right? 'Cause it's like, yeah, my mom's brown, my dad's white, but what's the difference? I was raised, people are people.
Yeah.
And when I was younger, I was very brown. I was most often categorized as Latina.
Okay. And that's what I
And
was picking up too, even though you're
mhm,
fair skinned now. I was like,
yep,
something's screaming out to me. And I was just sitting here like, I have to ask her because I'm like, I just need to know, like, because you have such beautiful features. And I'm
thank
like,
you.
I just can't quite put my hands on it. I'm pretty good at this. So I just was like, I have to ask.
Yeah. So when I was really young, I was like this complexion, and then
Mhm.
I got darker like throughout like grade school, and then I started getting lighter again. So I don't know if it has a lot to do with my time outside,
Yeah.
because
You're
I
melanin
tan
beauty.
like
You suck up
crazy.
sun. That's what we
Yeah,
do. When you're melanin
absolutely.
beauty, we just suck up the sun.
So,
Do your
but
parents
yeah,
support your
it was
lifestyle now?
interesting. My mom sometimes would pick me up from school, and there was this boy, and he was Middle Eastern of some kind. I don't want to say anything specific, but I know that somewhere. And he would make fun of me for being Chinese. And I didn't understand it. First of all, my mom definitely does not look Chinese, like at all. I mean, you can tell she's Asian, but like that's about it. And it didn't make sense to me. There were mostly white kids at my school. There was not a lot of diversity in Crystal Lake in the 80s. I think by the time I graduated high school, we had an African American family in town at our high school. I think there was
Wow.
one or two. Um,
What was the time
but
frame that you were in high school? From what year to what year?
93 to 97.
Hmm, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Latina or Latinx, I guess is the new word. A lot of that population, and then a little bit of more Asian Indian,
Hmm.
and then but yeah, very few African Americans, and I don't know why, but it's still kind of like that out
Well,
here. We're
I'm
very
like your sister city over. I am from like the Elko Schaumburg area.
okay.
And believe it or not, I was the only African American child from kindergarten to sixth grade in my whole school.
Wow, that is pretty surprising.
Yeah. And I'm only a few years younger than you. Not even a
Hmm.
few. I think you said you're turning 40.
I just turned 40 in August. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm turning 39 this year.
Okay.
So I graduated in '99, so like only a couple years after you. And
Hmm.
our high school it was not super diverse, but we had a lot more than I did growing up in my elementary school and in junior high. And I just
Hmm.
remember when you told the story about the little boy saying like making fun of you for being Chinese. I can relate to that big time just because there was nobody else there that looked like me at all. So
Right.
I do understand that struggle. Did you ever feel not good in your skin because of that?
Honestly, it's not something that ever really crossed my mind. I think I have felt way more judgment being overweight.
Okay. Were you always overweight? Was it something that happened later in life or?
I guess I always thought I was fat, even though I wasn't. But I would say probably like late teens, and then it just kind of ramped up from there. And I'm a yo-yoer. I always
Yeah,
have been.
I'm a
Um,
too. When was it that you embraced just not caring about that?
Probably like really within the last year or two,
Me too. Me too.
truthfully. Yeah. Yeah,
What is
like
what was the I guess the defining moment where you were like, you know what, I'm not gonna let this like rule me.
I stopped caring what other people think.
So you've had like two transitions into that
Yeah.
lifestyle. You
Yeah,
had
for
one when you
sure.
were a little bit younger with your friends and saying like, you know what, I'm gonna rock with me, and then you had to do the second time
Yep,
when you got older.
for sure. Because, you know, being a bigger person, you're told that you have to cover everything and hide it. Nobody wants to see a flabby arm or a fat thigh or, God forbid, cellulite. Ah! But,
Right.
like, guess what? Everybody has it. Thin people have cellulite too. So it's not just a fat person thing.
Nope.
If you want to look at my cottage cheese thighs, then avert your eyes.
Right. I always say if you don't like what you have on TV, change the channel.
Exactly. And, you know, a couple years ago, I went to Simcoe, which is a really big show. And I said, you know what? I'm wearing shorts and a crop top, and I don't care what anybody says.
I
I don't
love
know these
it.
people. Like,
I love
whatever.
it.
I'm just going to do
Yeah.
it. I mean,
'Cause,
now I look
yeah.
at pictures of myself going like, girl, there's so many better ways to wear that. But at the same time, I feel happy and almost relieved that I was just like, I'm ripping the Band-Aid off.
Yeah. That's a
And
common thing with you. I think when you do it, you go big or you go home. So you're like,
that's the way I have to do it for me.
yeah,
I just have to boom, make the change and don't look back.
yeah. No, it's a great I mean, not to give you your pearls of wisdom, but think about on that little subject because a lot of us have a hard time deciding when we're going to make like I don't know if you've ever had to talk to yourself where you're like, well, tomorrow I'm gonna start doing this, and then tomorrow comes, you don't do it, and then you're like, all right, well, I'm gonna start this tomorrow, and it's like, and it never comes. And I think that's the hardest part when you're ready to make that change, when you're ready to make that decision, you kind of
Mhm.
have to just do it, right?
Yeah,
Because
for sure.
otherwise, you keep putting it off and off and off, and then by the time you do anything, it's been like another month or another year.
Girl, I am a master procrastinator, okay? I totally get it. Absolutely.
It's scary. It's
It
scary.
is.
That's why I think it's scary. I think ultimately it's scary. Like
It is.
I
You
won't
have to push yourself out of your comfort zone.
I'm telling you right now, I won't wear a crop top, and it's not so much because I'm now I like because I've lost a lot of weight, but to me I'm still worried about what people are gonna say. And it's like I haven't even gotten past that. I'm in that. Your wisdom right now is helping me because
Good.
still in that. I am still too hung up on what people think about me. And
Yeah.
I don't want to get emotional because I have eyelashes on. But um
I
it's
got a good glue for that.
but honestly it's difficult to do what you're saying to do because the fear is real. Like
Absolutely.
it's such a big fear of mine and I know that there's a lot of people that can relate, but it's such a big fear. It's hard for me to just put the ripping the band-aid off because it's like I want to put band-aids on. I want to put them all over me. I don't want people to see me. So and I don't want people to see my hurt and I don't want to bleed all over the place. So for me to rip the band-aid off scares the Jesus out of me.
Oh yeah. It's very scary. And it's not something that you can even be fully prepared for until you do it.
Right.
You know, you even if you think you're ready, it's it's making the decision to just get it done and not looking back.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically what it is. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
shoot, that's a pro right there. Like, just not looking back and just doing it. And like, so my other question is like, once you rip the Band-Aid off, like since you've done this at least two major times that you've told me so far,
Mm-hmm.
how did you immediately feel afterwards? Was it like
Fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah.
Seriously, because it's like, it's empowering. And I'll tell you, when I did the pinup transition, that was amazing. Like, I felt so good because, you know, I was really open about it on social media, but like just people's reactions to it, like a lot of times, like, I mean, even one of my good friends would like tease me about it and told me one day I looked like a garden gnome. Fine. But like,
I think you would probably be adorable.
I was wearing like a pink and white striped shirt with like a flower dress over it. It was the first day of spring, so whatever. But you know, a lot of people just, they would tell me, they're like, I smile when I see you. Like, I look forward to seeing what you're wearing that day. And that, like, that grew my heart. It really did.
Oh, that makes me want to too. Yeah.
But like, and so I miss that about not being in an office and seeing those people all the time, but I still bring it, you know, when I call bingo, you know, I try to dress up a little bit and people get excited. It's something different. I mean, yes, it may be a bit of a novelty to them, but at the same time, I'm also making it normal. I'm trying to normalize it.
Yeah.
At least for me, this is my normal.
Yeah. And then talk about the more recent one where you're like trying to find comfortability in your own skin now.
So last year, I should say a couple years ago, I was accepted to a retro fair, which I know you were accepted to this year, to be a model. And congratulations, because I can't wait for it to happen. It's going to be freaking amazing.
I can't wait.
So I did that, and there was an advertisement for another fashion show, and I was like, let's just try it. Why not? It was called Plussize and Poppin. Mostly African American. I'm pretty sure I was the token Asian girl.
I love it.
But I was also the one with like the vintage look, right? Like, I showed up to my audition with the Betty bangs and my hair in a ponytail, and I got picked right away, I think because of my unique look. But like, that show helped me embrace my body, because there's just something different about the African American culture that loves the body.
I didn't want to say anything, but I was like, girl, because we support each other's booty. We like booty. We like curves. We are like that. Yes.
Yep. And it doesn't matter if you have cellulite, because you're rocking that curve, girl. Like, and nobody cares. They're all just loving each other so much. I have never felt that much empowerment in my entire life, ever, besides with those women. I know, right? I'm like, whoo.
Yeah,
because I love my Toastmasters and Poppin sisters. They were amazing. I mean, I still talk to some of them, which is like, it's really cool to me that we can still have a connection, you know, even though like we spent like a month or so together and did this fashion show in some real shady bar, but it was super fun, you know, and that I think helped break me out of my shell too, because I wore a crop top for the first time in public in that show.
Oh, wow.
And again, you understand. I don't think a lot of people can understand, but like the reception to that was so positive that I breathed a sigh of relief. And that, I think that was the start of it. And it wasn't until last year that I really was like, don't care. So I've been doing contests and stuff since 2012. And I'm getting to the point where I don't want to say like I'm retiring, but I'm probably not going to compete in very many contests moving forward. One, I'm kind of over it. And I hate to say it that way, but like, I want to go to a show and just enjoy myself and
Yeah.
party and support other women. I want other women to have the opportunity to grace the stage and find themselves like I have. And I don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got it.
Because you found your wings. You found this, and this right here, you are just summing up, bravo. Like, because so far I've done so many videos, but no one's put it like this, where they're ready to almost move over because you have now embraced what you were looking for from this community, or from this lifestyle, that now you have entered a whole new segment of your comfortability and your acceptance of yourself, that now you are so okay with that you're willing to sit back and now help a fellow sister, help a
Absolutely.
person who's never worn that crop top, never got to like feel like I can embrace my curve or feel sexy in my skin. And this is what women need to do.
Absolutely.
What Kat is doing is exactly what we as women need to do. We need to uplift, we need to inspire, we need to be encouraging to one another, because we all have had these insecurities. And that is just the truth.
For sure.
That is just the truth.
So last year I judged a contest and I wore a jumpsuit. Mm-hmm. Red sequins, bust to toe, and that was awesome. I got really good feedback from that. And then I was doing a contest. I did moto static, and I had no idea what I was going to wear, but I had bought this really, really cute outfit on Curvy Sense, and it wasn't really pinup, but I thought it was pinup, and I wore it. It was blue and white gingham. It looked like a jumpsuit, but it was really like a little crop top with pants, high-waisted pants, and then I paired it with a red belt and shoes, and I ended up getting third place, and I was so excited. I mean, there was I think at least 25 women in the contest.
Oh, wow.
And I got a real positive reception on it. And one of my girlfriends came up to me and she's like, "Girl, how much weight have you lost? You look so good." And I'm like, "Well, I'm actually the heaviest I've ever been." So, booyah.
And you came in there with confidence. And confidence is sexy.
I mean, I said it loudly too.
Yeah.
It was like a group of contestants, and I was like, "Well, actually," and people turned and looked, and I'm just like, "Yep, this is me. Don't care."
It's oh my God, Kat, that is amazing. You just got me over here oh my God, I'm my cheeks hurt.
I mean, I can't change my body. My arm shape, if I could change anything of my body, it would be my arm shape. But it's literally, my grandma has it, my dad has it, it's hereditary.
What, your arms?
Yeah, the top of my arm is just whatever,
Girl, I got wings. I could take flight.
Well, I got the wing too, but I
totally.
It's it's chunk. I don't like it. Whatever.
I get it.
We all have one thing that we don't like, at least, right?
Let me tell you, before I let you do your pearls of wisdom, I'm going to tell you the worst part. So you have fur babies. I have real babies, okay? And let me tell you what my little real baby did to me one day. I was cooking and I was stirring, you whip something up. My little child, who I love to death, came up to me. Huh?
How old?
Well, at this time, he probably was 8.
Okay.
Now he's 19, almost 20.
Oh boy. Okay.
But he comes up to me and I'm making something and I'm whipping up, and he comes up to me. He's like, "Ooh, mommy, woo!" and jiggled the hell out of my fat.
Oh my gosh! No.
He took a big old it went jiggle. It was thought it was the funniest thing ever to play with my fat arm, and I was mortified. Baby, no one else saw it, no one else was there, and I immediately started to cry, and he was looking at me "What's wrong, mommy?" I'm so I mean. When I tell you that I understand about insecurities, even my child points them out. But I'm gonna wrap up your segment. We went over the 30-minute mark, and I just like to continue. It's okay. because you were kind of like incorporating everything into one, and it was just going so perfect. So I loved it. But
Awesome.
I'm gonna allow for you to now to like kind of like wrap up your pearls of wisdom with it, including like your pinup journey and what you've learned and what you've experienced. I mean, you've done like a little, like a bunch of them already, but just for you to kind of like make it into a nice little cute bow, like
Sure.
like let us have it.
All right. Well, here are Kat's pearls of wisdom. Don't be afraid of what other people think of you. It's the hardest thing ever to get past, but once you get there, there is no greater feeling. And rip it off like a band-aid, because sometimes we just keep holding on and holding on and holding on. You just got to get it. Just get it. Get rid of it. Rip it off. Just do it, because again, the feeling of freedom and relief is just, it's incredible. And don't be afraid to be yourself, especially around your friends. And if they don't love you for who you are, they're not really your friends, at least not your tribe. They may be an acquaintance, someone you can have a drink with, but they are not your tribe, and keep looking.
I love that. I've never heard it put like that. They're not your tribe. That's awesome. Wow. Um, I have nothing. Usually, I help like piggyback on some people's pearls of wisdom because it just, but this one was actually right on point. I just,
Thanks, Toastmasters.
I'm serious. Like, I'm kind of speechless. I like the whole entire. They might be your acquaintance. They might be, a person but they're not your tribe. And that is something that I'm gonna truly take away from that, because that's a hard lesson I've had to learn too. Who your true friends
Yeah.
are.
It's hard and it sucks, but once you find them, it's amazing.
It's like gold. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Well, Kat, I'm blown away by you. I just want to say thank you so much for being on Shell's Pearls of Wisdom. I think that listening to your story is going to help a lot of people, young and old, black, white, blue, purple, doesn't matter.
I love them all.
Yes, it's going to touch everyone's soul, because you are a beautiful soul and you deserve the newfound respect and love that you have for yourself. And if I can tell you anything, is to keep on loving yourself, because you are a ray of sunshine. And on some of these cloudy days, you need people like you. So
Thank you.
I really appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Oh God, you just don't understand. So thank you for joining us with Pearls of Wisdom. I want to say thank you to Kat again, aka
Holly Rose.
Holly Rose. And if you guys have any questions for her off of the camera, off the segment, I'm sure she'd be willing to answer any of them. Just leave us a comment down below. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Click, 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 click. And I will see you guys later. Holly Rose, don't hang up. I'm just going to stop the recording. But I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.